Apparently, I'm live, and this has kind of been a little project. I've been screwing around with some stuff, like getting things done and not actually making any kind of content for the channel and stuff like that, and getting bogged down in my own life and getting some other stuff done. And now I'm hoping to, with some encouragement, some other people, I've decided to try and do more. So we were joking around on the. For those of you who don't know, I'm the spy guy, Dave March. Sorry for kind of getting into that right away. Not getting into that right away. Uh, I'm part of this group called the Nerdiverse, and we're all doing various things. I often going on their shows instead of going on my channel and making stuff because it's easier that way sometimes to get. It's kind of hard to get up and motivate yourself to go up and do a stream by yourself versus going on someone else's stream and talking to them and having having a bunch of people talking away there and getting involved in chat fights and other things and just talking about whatever's going on. And when you're kind of starting out on your own and you don't have anything really set up in that way, you do everything but do the actual projects you want. So I've got this nickname, the Ledge, over on the Nerdiverse. So I said, why don't we do lunches with the Ledge? And we have nothing on the front end of the schedule. Everything on it's like the weekend is just packed with shows that people are doing. And I was like, you know what, I'll do something on Tuesdays because in about a couple weeks now, I'll be starting working on Mondays. So I won't have that free day anymore to do stuff. Certainly not free lunches, but coming on here and just kind of talking about some stuff that's going on. So later this week, me and Steph, the alternate, she's going out and we're going to do she has never seen the movie Zero Dark 30, the taking out of Osama bin Laden and that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a pre-recorded show on that. So it won't go up again. It works for our schedules that we can do it, but we don't want to go up against like currently running stuff. So we're going to pre-record the show and then drop it whenever, and then people can watch that. And hopefully we'll do more reaction videos. There's another, I am doing another video this Saturday with my friend Mark Lardis. We're doing another one we're doing history meets the movies kind of thing. And we already did one where we talked about the longest day at the movies, and now we're doing Pearl Harbor at the movies. And no, we don't mean the Michael Bay Pearl Harbor, which is okay, has some interesting things that happen in that movie, but it's like this is a fantasy of World War II, and half the stuff that happens in the movie does not happen. We're going to talk more about the great Tora, which is like a recreation of the battle as far as people could tell during the 1970s, and In Harm's Way, which is another movie. And I'm going to see if there's some other movies out there that kind of cover it. I mean, it happened. There's a bit of the movie, the recreated Midway movie, which came out a little while last year. Actually, I watched it and I was nowhere near as angry as I thought I would be watching it, because it was not, I thought it was going to be Pearl Harbor 2.0, and it's just not Pearl Harbor, but it was, it kind of had that disaster feel to movies. So also, hopefully this Friday, we're still going to work it out and trying to get it going. I'm looking to start a Delta Green game with Chris Darth Pyron, Steph, and Kev the Orc, which should be interesting. I've never run Delta Green for an Orc. I may have had orcs in Delta Green to kill players with, but never done it that way. So we'll be on TV, hopefully, and probably this Friday. But if not this Friday, we'll do it next Friday. So what kind of content can I have? Oh, another thing I did just this last Sunday, I did a show for my other channel, which is a kind of a political channel, which I don't usually bring up here, but we did do something that was very interesting. We sat down and did an hour and a half. It dive into science fiction, and we're planning on making that kind of a monthly event where we sit down, get 3 or 4 people who are either mega nerd fans or people who are interested in science fiction. We're going to talk more about books, I think, than we will talk about movies, but we did talk about certainly TV shows that we liked, and we'll probably do like genre. We'll do like a monthly show on genres and stuff. And then my other 2 of my people who were watching were fellow writers. Another was an Uber fan. We talked a lot about Babylon 5, a bit on Battlestar Galactica, the original Star Trek, but we also got into like talks about writers who influenced us and how we got to be where we are, and like writers like Purnell, Larry Niven. And it's kind of fun because I happen to know one of my convention buddies is Phil Purnell, who is the son of Jerry Purnell. And we go to a different type of convention called Connections, which is a professional level wargaming convention versus a nerd level convention. And what do I mean by professional? There's Connections is and there's more of them every year. There's an Australians, there's a connection, there's a Canadian connections, there's UK connections. And basically, US military likes to war game, but they also want to do best practices across all fields, including academia and commercial, where I come in, and a few other ones that are out there. And it's like, hey, I was only there for the first day this year for Canadian connections because it's the same weekend as my birthday, and I got doing other birthday like events. Like we had a tiny party for me on the Friday night, and I spent the entire Saturday afterwards recovering. Suffice to say, that's something that happens sometimes. We all have times when we have to unwind, and unfortunately, in the world we live in, for those who are watching this 20 years from now, this was like still the time of the coronavirus pandemic where the world went crazy. So anyways, Connections is that. And coming in from the commercial design, I have 4 war game designs I've actually created. And we were talking in the chat in that thing, and I got into some arguments with some people over stuff. And I was like, wait, this is great. I haven't been able to have a talk like this with anyone, because most of my friends now online are not historian buffs, or they kind of agree with me on stuff. So we don't have, like, I was arguing the Battle of Stalingrad, which I had to write 15,000 words for publication once, which is the longest thing I've ever gotten paid for. And by the time I was done with that 3-article series, I didn't want to write for a while. And it just didn't want, certainly not on the Battle of Stalingrad. So I have some very strong opinions on that particular fight. And we'll probably later do a movie on Enemy at the Gates with Mark, and we can talk about stuff about the Soviet Union. And we'll probably get into some of the miniseries. Winds of War does stuff. War and Remembrance level stuff. Once upon a time, we had people talk about the Snyder Cut that's coming out in a couple days that we'll all get to see. And who wants to watch a 4-hour movie? Well, lots of people want to watch 4-hour movies. They used to have them all the time. It's now a different kind of world where people don't go to the movies as an event to watch a 3-hour movie with a 20-minute intermission. But that used to be a common thing. I have a lot of movies like that because they're all big war movies, were all done that way. Like I said earlier, Tora was that kind of movie. Even Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor is a humongously long movie. So there are definitely people who are willing to sit through these giant movies. And maybe it would be nice if they brought back the 20-minute intermission to allow us to go through this. But talking about the Snyder Cut, I'm hopeful. I'm glad I hear that they said it was on a cliffhanger. I was like, oh God, no. I want a conclusion. And I found out it was like an open-ended like ending where they resolve the movies, but they leave like, here's more stuff we could do in this universe. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a 20-minute denouement where you get here's all these other things that could be happening if you give me more money. Unfortunately, I don't think we're never, as a fan of the DCEU, I don't think we're going to get much left in certainly not like the Snyder Cut. They might give Snyder another movie. I don't think so. Not in the next 5-10 years. He's just pissed off so many people over there at Warner Brothers that they're just not like. Then the current management all hate his guts. New management comes in 5-10 years, completely turns around. But the idea that they will give it's just too expensive. You cannot get all of these actors to come in and do what would be a 2-hour movie on HBO Max. That's just not going to happen. You might get the Ben Affleck Batman movie if it does really well. And hey, maybe this movie makes like a gargantuan amount of money, and they decide to greenlight another project. But I just don't see it. It's like if you like this universe, you will like this movie, is what the reviewers I trust say. If you don't like this universe, you're not going to care. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a small amount. There's people like us who are willing to that are going to spend the money to watch it, and there are other people who are not. But for the most part, it just I don't think that market is big enough to hold. Big enough for these type of movies. And I mean, that's the reason why the movies made some money, made 800 million, made 900 million, but they were not making the kind of money to justify the costs. And that's really the sad problem. So I think you could get Zack Snyder to do a Justice League Dark in the way he did it. And then you can spend billing, but you can do it in a smaller long form format over TV shows on HBO Max, and you can create this like dark universe that's very interesting to people, but the budget's going to be smaller. They're not going to be these epics. I feel that Zack Snyder was probably born in the wrong time. He wants to be making a miniseries, and he wants to be making long form content. Maybe he should go into TV. I don't know. He just does not seem to be. He wants these epic scales that you can only get from the big budget. But he wants to have 4-hour movies out of it, and people don't do that anymore, sadly. And sure, I like the content, but there's just not enough people like me out there that are going to put up with this stuff. They want their 2-hour trashy movies. And speaking of 2-hour trashy movies, I was watching Nerdrotic the other day, and he was talking about how the great movies of the 90s and how the best movies that we all grew up with, like Face Off, like Con Air, which I'm going to piss off a lot of people by saying I missed it. I don't know what happened that summer, but I didn't get to go to Con Air, and I never really saw it ever again. So there's just some of these movies I've never really had a chance to sit down and watch and see, and the Con Air is one of them that I know it's kind of marked me down on my Gen X card. But there's Face Off, Mortal Kombat, these Broken Arrows, one definitely did see, and these movies that are out there that don't seem to be made anymore, but they are being made. There's lots of little stupid genre movies that are being made direct to DVD, starring Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage, and they're like hour-and-a-half tight movies. And some people think they're dumb or they're stupid, but I'm like, no, I like these movies. Go through my nostalgia and bring me more movies like this. And one of the movies that I liked that was like this is something I found last night on Amazon Prime. You can find these movies on Netflix and Amazon Prime and on some of the other streaming services. And last night I watched a movie called Money Plane. And Money Plane, look at this, Adam Copeland. And I was like, who the heck is Adam Copeland? And then I went and had to look it up, and it's like, oh, he was on Haven, and he's a wrestler. So there's a reason why I was like, I knew this guy from somewhere, but it's like, he's on Haven. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's why I knew him, but I definitely didn't know him in the wrestling stuff. Kelsey Grammer is playing a bad guy. Thomas Jane is in it. Denise Richards, my God, like, there was a time around the 90s when she was the hottest girl around. And she's just kind of playing in this one. She's the mother, love interest, and this girlfriend. So we definitely don't get to see any of her the way certain Mr. Sheen got to see her. But like, it was nice to see her getting some work. And I would have maybe preferred her as the Bond girl type, but she wasn't that anymore. And there was a lot of guys named Lawrence in this movie, so I'm not exactly too sure what that's all about. But there's like Andrew Lawrence, Joey Lawrence, and Matthew Lawrence are all in this movie playing different characters. It was like a heist. It's a heist movie. It's set on an airplane, and okay, so here we go. We got the production notes here from Wikipedia. Inspired by heist movies such as Ocean's 11, airplane movies such as Con Air, and their experiences in Las Vegas, producers Switzer and Connie turned to Andrew Lawrence, Lawrence proposed an airplane casino movie, which Switzer and Coney agreed to fund after Lawrence wrote a screenplay. After securing Adam Copeland for the role of Jack Reese, the producers cast Thomas Jane as Reese's mentor, which he's kind of neat. Kelsey Grammer was their first casting choice for Darius Grouch. They did not expect him to accept the role. To their surprise, Grammer accepted. Later saying that the role seemed like a fun mustache twirling kind of character, and he is. He's great. He's got some great scenes in that movie. Principal photography began in October 2019 and continued through late December. After plans to film in Romania, Toronto proved unworkable, the production moved to Baton Rouge. The project's low budget and rush schedule frequently required Lawrence to improvise and to adjust shooting based on which sets were available. We were literally building the plane set while we were shooting. We picked corners of the set were built and shot in those corners. We had to do that all the time, which, you know what, really helps to the ambiance of the movie, because you're on a plane. You don't have a lot of space. So you have these really cramped sets, and it does come off that way. Everyone hated it. The critics all hated this movie. I loved it. It's just some fun, stupid movie. Like, the main character is a former Air Force pilot turned professional thief and former gambler. And he was forced to trying to steal this. His debt gets bought up by Kelsey Grammer's character, and Kelsey Grammer basically says, now you work for me until you pay off the debt, and I want you to go on this airplane and steal like $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency, and any money you get on your own is up to you. There are double crosses. There are so there's a character called the Cowboy, which is like, let's play Russian roulette. So the idea is this plane is full of criminals, and the criminals are going on this illegal plane ride where there's all sorts of gambling going on there. And they start off with Texas Hold'em. They go to Russian roulette. There is like betting on how soon someone will die. And the one guy keeps winning, and they're like, this is impossible. He can't win. And there's like the concierge just kept going like, yes, great. He's this luckiest winner ever. And they're like, they shoot someone who's cheating. There's a lot of fun little moments on this thing. It is like, is it good? Is it a great movie? No, it's cheap disposable trash, but I love cheap disposable trash. Like, it's like candy for the mind here, people. Like, this is a bag of potato chips. You're not expected to think for yourself. My friend Andy Signor will go on and talk about how much he loves The Bachelor. And this is kind of like my version of The Bachelor. It's just like a TV show, dumb movies that are really stupid, but they often have smart writing or little gags or stuff like that you just appreciate. And like I said, people are going to hate the movie. I don't even know the box office numbers here, but we'll check on that. It has, of course, as of February 21st, the whole film holds a 23% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 13 reviews with an average rating of 3.6 out of 10. The Daily Beast described Money Plane as the dumbest movie of 2020. No, it's not. Accidentally gave the film 2.5 stars and called it the kind of movie that will likely be forgotten about within a matter of weeks. And a review from this Decider said it was the best and worst of what a bad movie experience can be. I don't know. It's like bad movies. It's like fun stuff, like disposable trash. Some people, I see a lot of these critics, and I guess they want to. I remember, I think it was growing up, we would go read the movie reviewers in the local newspaper, and every time there would be like some sort of theater piece, it would get 5 stars, and then any like movie that I would like to watch would get 2 stars or 1 star. This movie, but sometimes we'd have a reviewer who would put down my honest review and then my genre review. So my honest review is this is a 2-star movie, and but as an action junkie, I think this is 4-star movie. And yeah, so Golden Globe, like I grew up on Golden Globus. I grew up on watching Delta Force and Masters of the Universe, and it's like we want movies that are really stupid and lots of fun. And I really like this movie. It's not like the guy said, it's not a great movie, but there's some fun scenes. One of the things I really liked is, so there's this girl who is the action hero, a professional assassin, and she like gets into fights with people, but she actually looks like the fight scenes are realistic. It's not like the new like she's going up to 240-pound guys and like kicking them in the face and they're flying across the room. No, like she actually has to get in there and like she's like ripping off the guy's ear and like on the one scene you're like, you know, most guys would really like for that to be happening to them, except for the fact that she's trying to scratch your eyes out and kill you. Like she like grappled the guy and it's like wrestling around with him, and she's like 160 pound. She's like decently built, but I mean, like she's not the type of woman who should be doing that. She's no Gina Carano, but because she's no Gina Carano, she actually has to fight like someone in that who's 150, 160 pounds versus someone who is 100, or like Captain Marvel, who's pretending, well, Brie Larson's pretty big, but like it was the reimagining of Charlie's Angels, which the biggest complaint I heard was the fighting was terrible. Just like you're not, Kristen Wiig cannot throw around a 300-pound bad guy. And they tried to do that in that movie. So yeah, Money Plane. I'm going to give it a 62. It's not good. It's not a great movie. My score is out of 100, but I just wanted to come out here and kind of talk about some stuff. And that was my talk for the day. On movies, go watch something fun. Don't get yourself all worked up. And yeah, so I need to start just making stuff like this. So I'm kind of like putting myself in. Every Tuesday I will come on here and we'll talk, and maybe I'll get like one of my fellow guys to come on, and we'll do we'll give ourselves a homework assignment of watching one bad movie and then coming on to talk about it. Because I think that's another problem I find often, like doing solo content. It just doesn't work. You need another person there talking about it, because you're not. Some people are great personalities that can hold an entire show by themselves. Some other people need the energy that they get from having another person there and making it more entertaining as two people are doing it. No one really wants to hear people solo ramble on for hours on end, and certainly not when they don't have any like cool content to go. So anyways, this has been the first lunch with Ledge. Hopefully like I said, I want to get another guy on to help out with this stuff. Okay. Bye. Oh yeah, if you like this or you want to support me, like, share, support. Oh, and I guess that's the other thing. Like, share, and subscribe, first off. Second of all, I have been screwing around with OBS a little bit, and I intend to try and figure out how to use StreamYard in a professional way to kind of bring up the quality of the channel and do neat things, and watching some videos on that. If you ever want to do anything on streaming, the best place to go is YouTube to find out how the YouTubers are doing it. My biggest regret right now is not filling up a glass of water before starting the stream. I'll have to remember that for next time. Anyways, this is Dave March, the Spy Guy, signing off. Bye.